Hello everyone. We're gonna cook today borscht. Somebody call that Ukrainian borscht. Sometimes somebody call that Russian borscht. I would call that Eastern European borscht. There's so many recipes. Honestly, I never cooked that soup before personally, but I've seen like so many times how actually that soup cook my wife, my mother, my grandmother, and so many other people. Most of the time, that of course it's a woman in the Eastern tradition. They actually cook that kind of soup. But anyway, there's so many recipes. There's a recipe on beef. There's a recipe on mushrooms. Honestly, I'm not a vegetarian, but that's going to be a very good healthy soup for the vegetarian and even for vegans. Because it's going to be pretty much all vegetables. There's kidney beans and the mushrooms. That's about it. What we're gonna use for that soup, it's a mushroom. It already was pre-cut at the store. You can just buy it as a whole piece and cut it yourself, or you can just buy it pre-cut. We need one onion. Again, like I don't have exactly amount of how many items do you need. How many ingredients of each items you need, like for to make in soup, because it depending how big is your pot and everything else, and how wanna if you wanna do a little bit thin or thick, as far as the you know broth and that kind of stuff. But anyway, I'm not gonna do precise. I'm just gonna do like just something like that. I feel like it's gonna be enough. So I'm gonna use this amount of mushrooms. I'm gonna use the whole can of beans. I'm gonna use one onion. Probably I'm not gonna use the whole cabbage, but probably maybe half of that. I'm gonna use definitely 2 carrots, and I'm gonna use 2 beets, pretty much that size. Lemon, you probably need half of them just to add it to the soup, but I might use just the whole thing. Probably 3 tomatoes. I honestly never added tomatoes before. Most of the time my mother and my grandmother and my wife, they just actually added ketchup. I feel like my wife did it a couple of times with a few tomatoes, but we'll see how it's gonna go. Probably like I would say probably you need 4 potatoes, but I actually kind of put it here like 5. And we need cilantro. That's about it. We don't need anything else. And now we're gonna start probably with the beets. We're gonna cut the beets and then like fry the beets. Usually in most recipes it says you have to cut it, but it's up to you. I can just use that shredder. I'm gonna do the beets shredded, and as soon as we're finished, I will show you how it's gonna look. Okay, we're gonna start with cutting beets. Honestly, I don't know any way to cut the beets differently. I just do that as I think it's gonna be the most efficient way. I feel like I cut beets in the past, like maybe a couple of times in my life, and I'm like 34. I didn't have any needs, I would say, why I want to actually cut the beet, but I'm assuming that you have to cut all the stuff from that and probably peel it. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right way, but let's see what's gonna happen if I will do this way. I feel like I need to peel that beet like that, but I can be wrong. Like I said, I don't really remember like how exactly they did it with the beets, but I will try to do my way and see how that's gonna turn out. Honestly, the beet is almost the main ingredient in the Russian borscht, because it's actually give you the color, that I would say like almost dark purple color that actually make the soup, you know, stand out. Okay, so we're done with the peeling the beets. So we're gonna use that, like I would say, I call it shredder. Basically, I would prefer a little bit bigger holes for that. So we're done. Oh, we're done with the beets. Just put everything in a dry pan. And I'm gonna put that beets on the stove, and I think it has to be fried for like, I don't know, maybe like it's not like only fry, it's like a fry steam, I would say, on the oil, probably like 15-20 minutes, you know. So again, like I'm not following any recipes. I feel like that's the way how they did it, but we will see. Okay, next, what are we gonna do? We're gonna cut the tomatoes, and we actually need to peel them and fry with the beet. The only way we do that, we're not gonna cut them right away. We're gonna put them in a boiled water. What it does is gonna help us to pretty much cut them, and then I'm gonna remove, you know, that top from each of the tomato. First of all, like, it's gonna help them peel them later on after we actually boil them. Secondly, you know, we need to cut that thing anyway. You know, we don't need them for cooking. It's just basically using your knife, do that. And also we're gonna use lime. We need to add that little bit of lime, I would say half of the lime, to the beets while it's gonna fry. So just cut off that, and we're gonna just squeeze. You can remove the seeds just in case, like few of them, and that's about it. So the next step, as I already mentioned, we will do peeling of the tomatoes, but before we'll do peeling, we have to boil them. I'm gonna show you in a second how to do that. Okay, basically the next step, what I'm gonna show you, I'm just gonna show you briefly that I'm gonna use that pot. It's pretty much big pot. I don't know how many gallons, probably I would say at least maybe 12 gallons. No, I'm sorry, not 12 gallons, probably like 4 gallons at least. Yeah, about like 4 gallons, maybe 3 gallons at least, that pot. I'm gonna use that for the borscht, but as is right now, that's shredded beets that we actually did it. I actually added oil there, and then later on I'm gonna squeeze the lemon there, lemon, just you can just squeeze this way. We just need to add that little taste, you know. There you go. You don't have to squeeze a lot, but just to make a little bit taste of sourness, because borscht is kind of making like sour, you know, a little bit sour. Later on, I'm gonna put on a small flame and close with the lid, and I'm gonna probably stir that every like few minutes, and I'm gonna let it steam that and fry for like, I would say at least like 7 maybe 10 minutes, but make sure the flame will be very small, very low, because you don't want to over fry it or anything like that. It has to kind of steam most likely, because it's gonna boil later on in the pot, and that's why we don't need over fry or over steam, you know, the beets. Anyway, the next step that I want to show you, we're gonna put the tomatoes in that pot in a boil. Make sure the water in the pot is boiling, and you just want to put like tomatoes there for like, I would say like a couple minutes the most. You just want to kind of like boil them very quick, and then you're gonna peel them off. I'm gonna show you how it's gonna look, and then after that we're gonna cut it, the tomatoes, and just add it to the beets right here, and we're gonna stir the beets and tomatoes on the low flame for like I said, like 7, 8, maybe 10 minutes the most. Make sure you will put the lid on the top, but I'm gonna show you next. Okay, next step, we just remove those tomatoes from the stove, and like I said, we're supposed to boil them for like, I would say a couple of minutes the most, and then like right after you actually remove them, just go to and splash them with the cold water. Literally just kind of like dip them in the cold water for like, I don't know, like 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and then like what it does is gonna help you to remove all the skin and you know, that kind of stuff. It's gonna be just much easier to cut them. There we go. So we're gonna remove the skin of the tomato. You see how easy it is, because we boil them, and secondly, we actually kind of like splash them with the hot water. Now like we're gonna cut them. Honestly, again, like I just follow my instincts. I'm not sure how you're supposed to cut them. Go ahead and cut them, I don't know, just small pieces, you know, something like that. The same way like how you cut them for the salad. I think like they will be small enough anyway, because you're gonna stir them. I would say the smaller is the better, but you know, that size should be fine. Now we're gonna go and add that to our pan. Here you go. We actually brought tomatoes that we just cut, and we start adding them to that pan right here. Like I said, make sure it's gonna be small flame, and you use the lid. Okay, now like we're gonna continue with our dish, with our borscht soup. So we cut it earlier tomatoes, and now we're gonna put them in the pan with the beets together, and make sure that all the juice gonna go to the pan as well. You have to stir that a little bit. Don't forget to add a little bit of oil, and put on a small flame. I mean, you don't have to stir everything right now, but let it just sit on a small flame for a little while. Make sure you put the lid like that, and let it sit for like maybe a couple of minutes. It's gonna sit like that for a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna stir a couple times. Make sure it's gonna be very small flame, literally very small flame. At the same time, while it's actually kind of like steaming and frying, that big pot right there, we're gonna prepare the next step. We're just gonna put in a small it's just a water, like I just put like half of the pot right there. And again, like I was guessing, I'm not sure how much water do we need, but I kind of guessing it's a half of the pot, and like the rest will end up like, and probably it's gonna fill up probably right here somewhere. So we're gonna have enough room to kind of work with. And I put a little flame because now we're gonna actually cut the potato. It's gonna take probably a little time, but I'm gonna show you how to do that as well. Okay, the next step, we're gonna actually cut the potatoes. Again, like I'm not sure how many do we need, but I kind of picked 5. So I mean, probably everyone know how to peel the potatoes. You just literally go with a knife. I'm actually using a very big knife, so be careful with that if you decide to use the same knife. Probably to do that job, you probably need to take a little bit smaller knife, but I'm fine even with this one. I honestly do not like to peel the potato, because when I was younger, it seems like in every Russian family you have to do that. And from the age, I would say like, I don't know, at least like 6 or 7, you definitely know how to peel the potato. That process usually take sometimes, if you have a family of like 4 or 5 people, grandmother is living with you, it takes sometimes like, I don't know, half an hour just to peel like, I don't know, 20 potatoes for everyone. Now like I'm gonna peel like only 5 potatoes, hopefully it's gonna take me no time. Usually when you peel the potato, it's good to actually add that potato in the water. So when you actually put the potato in the water, it's not gonna change the color, and I guess it's gonna look much better. Anyway, second potato is going. After we actually peel the potato, we're gonna cut it. Probably it has to be some kind of like a square, like a little cubes size, cuts. There is no like, again, like such a instruction or like such a terms what exactly size it needs to be. We're done with the last potato, and I'm gonna go ahead and stir now. Okay, now in here like I said, we still like actually cooking, not completely, but just kind of half cook beets and tomatoes. Make sure you're gonna stir thoroughly through that process, and kind of mix the tomato with the beets. And like I said, usually you don't have to cook that for a long time. I would say the most on a low flavor, on a low flame for like, I would say maybe 8-10 minutes the most, like I already said. You don't have to add anything like salt or pepper, just like literally You just need to steam and kind of fry, steam the beets with a potato. You kind of want to make sure tomato become like one suspension with the beets, like become like one ingredient together. I can tell right now that tomato is not really kind of like soft that much, but it will eventually in the soup when you add it. So I would say I would let it sit like that for like maybe another I don't know, maybe like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It's been already like 4 minutes now, so just put it lid and let it sit again. Like it should be on a very low flame. And here, like, we're gonna edit the potato that we're gonna cut in a second. Okay, now we're gonna cut the potato. Like I said, there is no specific recipe how to cut. You can do whatever way you want it. I just want to tell you, it's supposed to be some kind of like a square cubes. So you know, and that's all matter, you know. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and dip that potato in the pan and let it be boiled for like, I would say at least like maybe 20 minutes. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. We will see. Okay, now the next step, like I said, we just cut the potato. And we're gonna actually put it in a pot and boil for like maybe 20 minutes. Right after we actually added potato, we're gonna cut very quick cabbage. Honestly, a lot of people using sour cabbage, and if you're using the sour cabbage, I would add it probably sour cabbage almost in the end, because it's kind of already salty and cooked, so it doesn't have to boil for a while. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add potato right now in that pot. Don't forget, after like 8-10 minutes, to move away from the flame the tomato and the beets, and just let it sit on the side. You know, you're not gonna use it now for like maybe 10 minutes or maybe a little bit less. So I'm gonna add it potatoes in the pot. You can use any kind of pot. You can see that I'm not like a professional cook or like expert. You see it's splashing everywhere and that kind of stuff, but that's fine. I mean, like I said, I'm cooking that first time, and after I will cook that, we will see how that's gonna turn out. Okay, so we just added potato there. We can close it, the lid, and let it sit potato at least, I would say, for like 20 minutes. I'm gonna reduce the flame. You don't have to run the flame on the high. You can just, I guess, just do some kind of like average, maybe a little bit less than that. And like I said, I was telling you, potato has to boil there for like 20 minutes. You know, you don't have to stir or anything like that. Just let potato boil for 20 minutes. While you do that, we're gonna cut cabbage now, and maybe add it like in the 10 minutes or so right after you added potato. But like wait like 10-15 minutes, because cabbage doesn't have to boil for a long time, so it can be, you know, cooked very quick. So I guess while we're gonna cut the cabbage, we're also gonna cut carrots, onion, and cilantro, and actually cook them on a separate pot, you know. And actually we'll add oil, and we're gonna cook them for like maybe 10 minutes as well. Pretty much the same procedure for as we actually did for beets and tomatoes. Okay, the next step, like I said, we have to cut the cabbage, we have to cut carrots and onion and this cilantro. I'm gonna start with again, like I don't know exactly the procedure for that, but I'm gonna start with using that shredder, and I'm gonna shred it carrot, and then I'm gonna cut onion, and you don't have to use all the cilantro, just a little bit. It just has to add like a little bit of flavor. So you just cut carrot like that. Honestly, that carrot it looks pretty clean. Some people actually suggest to you know, peel the carrot maybe like that, or you can just peel like the same way as we did with the potato. I mean, you don't have to do all of that if the carrot is, I don't know, look clean to you. I feel like it's fine. Again, like I'm just following my instincts. If anything looks dirty or something like that, I can peel it like that. It's not a problem. So it's gonna save some time. You don't have to peel it like we did with potato, you know. There we go. I think it should be fine like that. You just throw away that stuff, and you just did the same way. You can just do the same way as you did with the beets. It doesn't matter which one you will choose. You can choose a little bit bigger or smaller. I will probably go. I haven't decided yet, but let's go with the bigger one. There you go. We're done with that. So we can put the pot away a little bit, and then like we're taking onion. So with onion, again, like there is no such a thing how to cut it. I just follow my instincts. I would just probably cut on like 4 pieces and then go from there. Just try to I don't know, somebody cut it like that, somebody actually doing a little bit different. I don't know, I'm just gonna try to make as small pieces as I can. again, like, try to cut it onion as small as you can, because it just needs to get to the borscht that flavor, and it doesn't needs to be kind of like fill it in the soup. So the smaller you cut it, the better. It's gonna get this flavor, and it's not gonna be noticeable in the soup. So personally, I don't really like when the onion is actually, you know, kind of boiled onion in the soup. So that's why I always make sure that I cut it very small. I feel it should be fine. It might get like a little bit messy in the kitchen, but you know, it's gonna be easy to clean. You can just stir with your finger, it's not a big deal. The next ingredient that we're gonna add, it's cilantro. You don't have to add a lot. It just, again, like, it's just gonna give you a little bit flavor to the soup. So I'm gonna just take a few. Probably like that will be fine. I'm not sure if you want to use the whole thing. I probably will cut the biggest, you know, things on the end, because they will be probably taste in the soup. But let's just cut it like that. It just needs to be small again. Okay, we add it right here. So we're done cutting that. So now we're gonna go ahead and put it on the flame. I mean on the stove, on a small flame, and let it sit there for like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. The next step, as you can see, we just shredded the carrots, we cut the onion, and we cut the cilantro. We mix that. We have to mix that. We have to add oil. We actually just added oil like that. Don't add it a lot. So we're gonna add it oil, mix it, stir a little bit, and let it sit that for, like I said, 8-10 minutes on a very low flame. Probably like that is fine. Don't forget to put the lid on the top, and let it sit like that 10 minutes, and try to stir that maybe every like 3-4 minutes. It should be good. You don't have to stir like often. As soon as you actually did it one time, it should be fine. So let's just set it like that. And I'm gonna use that lid and just, you know, close it for now. Next step, we're gonna go ahead and cut a cabbage, and we're gonna add it mushroom to the soup. Potato is still boiling. Yeah, boiling. It's gonna take probably, I would say, another like 10 minutes the most, and then we're gonna add all the ingredients and mix it and make a borscht. The next step, while carrots, cilantro, and onion is actually kind of steaming, frying in the pan on the stove for like 10 minutes, and potato boil in the pot, and beets with the tomatoes kind of sitting on the side, not on the flame. We're gonna cut cabbage. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use the whole thing or just maybe half of that. I'm gonna decide like in a second. Probably a little bit more than half, maybe the whole piece. I'm not sure. And we're gonna actually see if we need to cut more that mushrooms. You know, that size is fine, but this one is probably a little bit too big. You just want to maybe cut on half or something like that, and it should be fine. Okay, let's just cut cabbage. Again, like, I'm not sure what's the best way to cut the cabbage. I would try my best to do that. You kind of try to go kind of like sideways with your knife, back and forth. And in this case, since cabbage is kind of like based in the layers, right? So, and it's gonna pretty much end up kind of like by the layers. And I will probably cut one more and one more right here. I feel like that much. So I'm gonna go ahead and add mushrooms right now to the main pot and stir them with the potatoes. Meanwhile, that potato's been there already about like 20 minutes. Like I said, that's pretty much perfect time for that. So you can just add it like that, and when you add them, you know, try to stir them thoroughly, you know, the whole process. Maybe let them sit there for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. By the way, the whole time of cooking is already like 1 hour and about like maybe 10 minutes, so which is not bad. Like I was saying earlier, for those who are actually cooking like that soup for a long time, they already have idea, you know, what to add, how to add, and maybe they actually use a smaller pot than that, and they usually cook that maybe 45 minutes to an hour. If you want to do the whole process through and follow all the steps, probably it's going to take 1.5 hours. I will go ahead and show you actually, you know, how that's supposed to look. There is no color yet. There's pretty much potatoes and the mushrooms, nothing else. And mushrooms gonna add to the soup some kind of flavor, and also will add some protein, you know, instead of traditional you know, borscht with the meat. We're doing that on the mushroom, which is actually make that very attractive to the vegetarian and vegans. Okay, the next step, after we actually add to the big pot mushrooms, and they've been like boiling there for like 5, maybe 7 minutes the most. Now we can add again cabbage, and we can increase a little bit the flame because it's bigger pot. Okay, we're just gonna add it like that. There you go. And we're gonna stir a little bit, and let it sit with a cabbage for, I would say, maybe 5 minutes, and then we're gonna add all other ingredients. Yeah, don't do too much on flame because it's gonna boil out the whole water, and you don't want to do that. But make sure you're gonna put the lid on the big pot. Now, like, don't forget to turn on the flame for the carrots and the onions. Okay, the next step, after you actually added cabbage and mushrooms and let them boil for like maybe another 10 minutes altogether, like maybe 5 minutes after you actually added mushrooms and another 5 minutes after you added cabbage. So it's been like total about 10 minutes. Potato was here for like maybe 40 minutes. So that's the way how it looks. Now the time when you can add like maybe a few spices that you like or something like that. In Russian culture they usually added like cold bay leaves. I'm gonna add it like maybe a few like that. Also you can add it salt. Don't add it too much, just add it a few, and then like maybe in 10 minutes after we added everything, you can taste it. You can add a pepper and everything else, whatever you like. But anyway, just let it boil for a little while. Now we're gonna add it all other ingredients. So pretty much we're gonna add beets, tomatoes. On another pan it's cilantro, onion, and carrot, and also there's also beans, and what else we have, and lime, and basically salt and pepper. You just need to taste, and depending like how you like it, you have to follow all of that. I guess I'm gonna start with the first pan where we have a cilantro and carrots and onion. There's no like any techniques how to edit. You just pretty much dump that everything in the soup, you know. That's actually will give soup a little bit of color. It's supposed to give them like a yellow color plus a flavor of onion and carrots and cilantro. It's already can be considered vegetable soup because it's already have a mushroom, tomatoes, cabbage, carrots, onion, and cilantro, and it's honestly already tasting like not bad. So after you add it, you can just stir thoroughly a couple times, and then the next after that you have to add beets and tomatoes, but let us stir a little bit. If you look at the soup, it's already kind of like it's not empty. You can see like there's a lot of stuff, and as soon as we will add beets, it's gonna get that flavor and color, and that's what actually make whatever you call borscht, you know, red color. Okay, the next step we're gonna do tomatoes and beets. After you add all of that, let it boil for like about 10 minutes, and after it's actually gonna be boiled for 10 minutes, definitely check on salt and pepper, salt and pepper, and then like if you wanna add it more, and if you like it spicy, maybe add it like some red pepper. It's up to you. Like I said, I like it jalapenos. Unfortunately, I didn't get it from the store, so maybe next time. And by the way, my wife did it for me a couple of times with the jalapenos, but I never tried, so we'll see how actually my soup ended up today. Alright, also you can add it lime, but it's better probably add it in the end because it might just boil out like a little bit of flavor. You don't need to put seeds, just the juice. Okay, and probably just add it lime, and then I just follow my instincts. And whatever only left is the salt, pepper, and the beans kidney. That beans in the can will go there in the next like 10 minutes. I will show you the video separately. Okay, that's a perfect time basically to taste your soup and figure out if you need salt. You see the color? The color is great, so the beets actually did their job. That's the way how the borscht is supposed to look. So after you actually taste, literally with a spoon, a little bit of soup, and if it's actually not salty or it needs some, you know, something else like maybe spiciness, just add it. I tried, and I feel like I want to add it a little bit more salt. That's for sure. Okay, anyway, I feel like it's gonna be fine now. It's better just to taste one more time, just to make sure that you got everything enough. Yeah, it tastes much better now. Now we're gonna add kidney with all the juice and everything else that in the can you have to add it there. You don't have to boil that for a long time. I would say probably like between 2 and 5 minutes the most, because the kidney beans is already cooked and canned, so they just need to kind of like get the flavor, get that flavor to the soup, and maybe like I said, 2 to 5 minutes is fine. Right after you actually added kidney beans and let it sit for like maybe 2-5 minutes on the flame, you literally can actually turn off right now the burner and flame completely, because it's ready. And the last part, what needs to be done right now, some green stuff needs to be added. It's not necessary, but it's gonna taste much better if you will do that. And you can do cilantro, you can do dill, or you can do both of them, cilantro and dill. You don't have to even stir, just put it on the top and let it sit. It's just gonna get that soup additional flavor. Here, don't serve that for like at least 10-15 minutes. Hey everyone, finally we actually finished our soup borscht. It literally took me almost like 2 hours. That experienced cooker, they can cook that for like 45 an hour. Unexperienced, probably an hour and a half, close to 2 hours. And plus I was actually trying to shoot the video at the same time, so it's a little bit harder. Honestly, through the whole process I didn't really follow any recipe. I was based I was actually rely on the past experience when my mom, my grandmother, and my wife was cooking. I was kind of like follow that from what I remember and what I actually like it, and I was actually adding all the time. I didn't really know exactly how much it was needed for that big pot, you know, like all the ingredients, but I was kind of follow my instincts, and hopefully it's actually turned out good. You always eat that with a sour cream. Um, it just gonna taste much better. I'm gonna show you closer. That's a soup. Um, the color, it's red. Honestly, I've seen some kind of like, I would say, dark, um, dark red. So I kind of like did it okay as far as the smell and as far as the color. Well, let's add some sour cream. I'm gonna go ahead and try it for a spoon. It tastes good. Um, I feel like it's enough salt for sure. Enough salt for sure. I might honestly, it's probably might be needed like more ingredients as far as like a quantity. Probably like, let's say, more kidney beans, more beets, maybe more potatoes, just like maybe a few more, because it has to be more thin. Um, but as far as taste is good. Well, that's about it, everyone. If you like my video, just subscribe, leave it comments if you wanna exchange some links or anything like that. Honestly, that's the first time I actually cooked that kind of soup. It's borscht. It took me like 2 hours, and I don't know that many men actually that actually cooked borscht. So whoever is actually up there, if you're Russian or like Eastern European guy, or if you're American, I want to challenge you, and I want you to cook something like that that's gonna take you 2 hours. It's not necessarily has to be a soup. Um, I mean, it can be a soup. There's a lot of different soups like salyanka, kroshka, whatever, and bunch of other one. But if you're from different country, you can cook something else that will take you like, you know, at least an hour or so. Just cook your dish and share your link under my video, and just challenge me. I just want to challenge any man in the world who actually know or doesn't know how to cook, but they want to try and challenge themselves first of all, and challenge me, and share the video. And if I will like it, I might just cook the same dish as you guys cooking. And that's about it. Thank you. Cheers.